Hey guys, it's Burgernator and welcome to my brand new video series called Hangar Hangouts. This is a series aimed at interviewing War Thunder content creators, big and small, and I am delighted to have my first guest on as Justin Plays. Justin Plays is one of the bigger War Thunder content creators with about 86.5 thousand subscribers, so he's pretty much a big deal on YouTube. He also streams on Twitch, and I will have all of his links in the video's description below. He has about 86.9 thousand subscribers. He put out about 714 videos with 29 million views. So he is kind of big on YouTube. So, guys, without further ado, let me introduce Justin. Justin, can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, how's it going, my man? About myself. Well, outside of the fact that I am just the average War Thunder YouTuber streamer that has the Rona right now, but that's really as far as it goes for the time being. But honestly, I'm just a almost 10-year War Thunder vet, and it's just like, oh boy, I've been in this game for 10 years. Don't do it, guys. Just don't. I'm telling you.
You sold your soul a long time ago, just
I
like me.
sold my soul. Yeah, I think everyone does. If you want to be a creator, you kind of got to. But jokes aside, it's like I don't regret any bit of it, not in the slightest.
So, why do you play War Thunder? Is it like a sideline? Is it a hobby? Was it a passion project? How did you start playing War Thunder?
So how did I play it? That's a good one actually. There's no like defining point that made me start it. It's more of I've always had an interest in armored games, right? So first games like Seek and Destroy, an old PlayStation 2 game that is I still own to this
Yeah?
day, funny enough. And just the whole idea of like armored warfare always interests me, right? From the ancient Chinese times with their basically rolling turtles, I think what they call them, to the first ones in World War II, official ones, or World War One. World War II, of course, is when things kind of like peaked up a bit to the
Yeah.
last greatest tank battle of the 20th century back during the 1991 Gulf War, right? And then
Like
just
Battle
seeing
of
the
East.
evolution.
East.
Yeah,
What? Battle
73
of.
Easting.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's it right there. I mean, it was kind of a one-sided fight, but those Iraqis were definitely up tier for sure. Um, but when it comes to just how armored vehicles play, and just I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing. Just this massive amount of firepower and armor and weight just coming at you, kind of thing. Always very interesting to me. And then, of course, you can't live that in real life. So the easiest way was to go about it in games. And from World of Tanks to now War Thunder, it just kind of hit that spot where it balances between arcadiness of like the old Battlefield games to the realism that you would find now with War Thunder. And I know I'm throwing that out there kind of like loosely, but War Thunder is still like the most realistic tank game that
Exactly,
I
and a
enjoy
lot
to this day.
And a lot of people like only see War Thunder as like okay, ground realistic or whatever you play. But there's so many different modes that caters to different people. Like you can scratch your itch, whatever you're looking for, be it sim,
Exactly.
arcade, ground, RB. It's there. You just have to look for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just it does cater to everyone. If you like World War II stuff, it's there. If you like Cold War, it's there. And there's different eras all over the place, and they fight in their own battle ratings, which there's always a different experience no matter where you play. If you want naval, you can do it. If you want early tier or late tier naval, you can do it. If you want aviation in all the same settings of arcade, realistic, or sim, you can really do it. So there's never a way to say that this game can be boring because you're stuck in one area. It's just you haven't looked elsewhere for it.
Exactly. And how did you find out about War Thunder?
Um, Funny enough, actually, I didn't know about War Thunder until I rebuilt my PC back in 2015, right? And I'm talking like I built my PC in '09, and then I had that all the way until like 2015. I built it. It was a 4790K, two 970s and SLI and everything. Those were good times. And I was browsing about the web to see like what new games were there, right? And I found one called War Thunder through a YouTuber. I think he was Baron von War Thunder at the time, Baron von Gaming.
Oh
And he would
yes,
play
yes.
daily too, funny enough. And I saw this, I was like, oh, okay. So I found it on the PS4. I tried it there, it was bad. And then I decided to download it for PC, and I kind of got stuck since then.
Yeah, I still remember. I think it was on like when Instagram was just starting shorts or something. Like on Instagram, I believe I saw a video of a king tiger being like side pinned, and you know the top right damage model when you
Yeah.
tank.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw that, I was instantly hooked, and I've been playing this game since 2016. Funny enough, also started on the PlayStation 4, but I very quickly added a mouse and keyboard to my setup just to make it more playable.
I didn't even know that at the time. I just was like, this is bad. What is this, 30 frames? Everything's all like not sharp at all. And just I'm gonna put this on PC instead. And it's funny because like even back then, this game is so easy to run, even on a potato machine.
Exactly. And that actually brings me to another question. Um, what do you think with what's your take on like War Thunder's like option of having like ultra low quality settings, the whole accessibility versus practicality? Should it be open to a lot more people? Because to be fair, you can just lower your graphic settings if you want to, and if you can't, let's say, push up your graphic settings, you can't increase it if you can't, but you can lower it if you want to.
Yeah, I that's such a controversial topic, and there's no right answer for it. To be honest, it's just it's subjective, right? From person to person. So, like for me, for example, right? I think if you're sitting here with like a build like mine, right? So 4090, 3900, 32 gigs of RAM, couple of SSDs, and everything, right? You should not be playing this game below a certain point, like in terms of graphics. You should not be cheesing it just for the
Definitely.
advantage, right? And I get the advantage, the desire to win, and everything for that matter. But you got to balance out the fact that this game, even at its highest possible settings, is nowhere near as pretty as, say, games like Cyberpunk or some of the Call of Duty games,
Yeah.
etc. And it's not supposed to be that pretty. It's supposed to be very practical, right? And you can still have good practicality in the game, efficiency, and be having it look visually appealing, right?
I
So
mean, I
why would you
like
want everything to look like mud? And just so you can get the advantage over somebody? I mean, I'm still gonna kick your butt anyway. So it's like may
I
as well
mean,
look pretty, right?
I like looking at nice things. I do not want to see a pixelated bush at 10 meters. So, if not, why not? Push up your graphic settings, make the game look pretty, and just enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's the point, which is why I say, and I know some may disagree with this, and it's fine. Is there should be like a benchmark system, right? Like before you start the game, or if the system detects new hardware, is all like we're gonna do a benchmark, and we're gonna lock your settings to this point. Like you can only adjust so far low, and you can only go so far high. Um, so that everyone can play. If you have a potato PC and you can't help it, that's one thing, right? But again, if you have a strong PC and you're still doing that, yeah, your
That
sportsmanship level is going down pretty low.
that's actually quite a good system to implement. Like Gaijin should be taking notes.
If only they did listen. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
So, what is your favorite nation in the game currently?
Um, all right, I know you're gonna hate me for saying this. 'Cause I know a lot of people hate me for saying this. Is I am a Russian maid. The first nation I ever played in War Thunder was Russia, back when it was just USA, Germany, and Russia at the time. And I still love them to this day, even though they're they can be biased and broken and whatnot. People say it's just like I love my T90, I love my T34s, my T55 is like I'm gonna own one day. And that's how much I love it. I'm gonna buy one so I can physically own it, and I'm gonna get all the paperwork to make sure the guns on it work.
That sounds epic. Okay,
One
to be fair,
day.
no flag from me. I enjoy Russia as well. They've got very nice lineups. Like 10-3 is amazing. Top
Oh
tier
yeah.
is amazing. Then one of my favorite tanks definitely is a T-34-57. Like that's a fast, good punchy gun.
Of
Not the best
course.
post pin, but a big favorite of mine. So I can definitely see why you would like Russia. I kind of thought you were going to say like the US, meaning you as well, because if I'm not mistaken, and if I have the right profile, you have substantial stats on the M1A2. I
Of
believe
course. I
4,407 tanks destroyed in ground realistic battles, 245 air targets destroyed in a single vehicle.
yeah, I do love my Abrams, don't get me wrong. I really do. It's just, you know, it's such a familiar vehicle to me, and I just love the way it plays. It's just sometimes with it can be a little too easy sometimes. I know that if I'm probably stroking an ego or something, but it's just it's a fun tank. It's a little bit too arcadey at times, but now with the whole like, the whole post pen effect in the Abrams and how easy it is to destroy and how people know how to destroy very well, it hasn't been a super fun experience as of late. I do love my Abrams, but it's just the environment kind of sucks for it right now. So I just avoid it a little bit.
And what is your take on like America's like top tier win rate now? Because I feel like that's what you're referring to with like no spoil liner
Yeah.
and all of those fancy things.
Yeah, it's the vehicle is not as forgiving as it used to be because like look at it like this. I think in the past where the first shot probability to destroy somebody was high, right? So back in the past, the Abrams was able to get that first shot off because superior optics,
Yeah,
great gun handling, etc. And the moment you took that first shot, it would succeed, right? Now you have to deal with spall liners, and at times I like to call them
field
invisible
tanks.
spall liners for certain vehicles, fuel tanks, eating sables more so than not. It's like that first shot kill probability has been nerfed significantly. So now it's like, okay, I got a 5 second reload with an ace crew. But still now he knows I'm there and I can't take a shot because I have gigantic modules. So it makes it a little bit more tricky to use. Still challenging, but there's just way too many newbies who don't know what they're doing.
That brings me to my next question. What is your take on top tier premiums?
It shouldn't have been a thing. I know I make money from it, right? Like I always say, hey, if you buy something, use my 3%, blah blah blah. But ultimately, the reality is top tier premiums was a mistake. It shouldn't have been a thing. 10.3 should have been like the max. Maybe even 10.7 premiums could have been like the a okay.
Y-
But just
Yeah,
11.3, it's just like, why would you play the set V2 when you have now the clickbait that offers pretty much the same experience? Yeah, a little bit less firepower, but it's minimal the difference between M829 and A1 and A2. So
and I
it's
I
like,
I
why?
do feel like the top tier tanks play easier than lower tier tanks. Like you're stabilized, you've
Oh
got a
yeah, they
laser
do.
rangefinder, but the environment they play in is just so much different because you've got helis, you've got different kind of CAS. You have to know your weak spots on tanks. You have to know the tank you're playing with, pros, weaknesses. And if you're a level 3 just coming in, C tank by tank, and trying to have a good time, that's absolutely not going to be the case.
No, no, absolutely not. It's you just again with the newbies, you have to understand that this is it's a high octane game. So for example, if you go down to like 6.7 or 5.7, you're playing with Tiger 1s, Tiger 2s, you're playing with Shermans and whatnot. Just you have to stop, stabilize your shell, your gun, and just point and hopefully where you're shooting at it works. Right here, not so much. You just point towards the center of the vehicle at times, aim for a sprocket, aim for a driver's port, and usually you can disable something or just outright kill them. And it's like you have to have good reflexes almost to be able to get your shot, get your gun on site, take the shot as quickly as you can, as opposed to what you would find already mentioned.
And War Thunder has a pretty steep learning curve. Like, just thinking back to the PlayStation, like, I didn't have enough control bindings to properly play and fly the game, even. So, just figuring out everything that they crammed into this game and still adding to it, like with the latest Fox 3s, there's so much you have to learn to stay like viable in the battle. So if you're just
Oh,
jumping
I
in from
agree.
level 3 and paying your way to top tier, like I've literally been in air battles just after a sale and people are like, how do I launch missile? And that's
Yeah,
just
and
not good for everyone except for the enemy, but yeah.
well, of course. I mean, the experienced player is going to be like, "Oh, this guy has no idea what to do." He probably doesn't even have his flare button established, which is right. The game does get a little more complicated, and there is a bit of a learning curve. I wouldn't really say it's a big one in ground RB as opposed to air. You like
Yeah.
you need a lot of keybinds for air, and I'm telling you right now, it's making Arma look like an easy arcade game at this point. Um, but for tanks, it's like it's not so much, right? You just 1 and 2 to change your shell type, R for range find, and N for NVD, and you're good to go.
Press B for binoculars. Use it. It's free.
Yeah, exactly.
So what inspired you to make content?
Funny enough, I've always made content actually. My first series of videos was back in 2008 here on YouTube. Um, so I've been a creator pretty much since then. Yeah, it's War Thunder took off, but that's for a little bit later. But honestly, I always liked being in front of a camera. Like I've always wanted I like to speak in front of people more or less. And yes, some can say I like to be the center of attention. I think if you're a creator, that's kind of your unintentional goal is to be the center of attention. But the
That's
idea
fair.
at the end is entertainment, is like I like making people laugh. I like to see people smile. And that's what really gets me going. So if someone approaches and says, "Hey, I learned something. Thanks for that." Like the moment they say a good old thank you, it's all like, "Boom, I've succeeded in that." And even to this day, there's still like a good sense of pleasure to that, where people are all like, "Good stuff, you played well," or "Hey, I learned something and something, etc."
So you being a Russian main or your Russia being your favorite country, is Russian bias real in your opinion?
Is Russian bias real? I know I like to joke about it a lot, actually, and sometimes I even like try to play it serious, like it does exist. But I think the reality of that is it's not real. And the reason why I say it like that is because take a look at it like this: you have Russian developers, okay, because they're Russian. All right. And this to them
Yeah.
is their passion project. So they're going to put an emphasis on the design, on the playability and the practicality based on the information that they have firsthand knowledge in. Because, it's one thing to be able to say, oh, I went on YouTube and I found documents about this, this, and that, right? But it's another thing to be able to have those physical documents in front of you in your nation that actually created said vehicle. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for example, if a game is like any games made here in the US, generally are going to be very like, America, fuck yeah, like we're going to
Of
be,
course.
super we're gonna sorry like we're gonna be super like American patriotism, etc. And we're gonna make our Abrams be able to like take out the Death Star kind of thing.
Of
um
course.
yeah, and it's I would say the same thing more or less is kind of the same for War Thunder. So the bias is there because they're passionate about their vehicles and they use the documentation that they have at hand to ensure that it's to the paper as opposed to like an Abrams, which the documentation really isn't there to the level of detail. And it could also be easily manipulated by other actors who are trying to downplay it for
Now,
our benefit or
come
someone else's.
coming back to documents, your take on all the leaks that War Thunder has been renowned for lately?
Oh my goodness. The leaks. Listen, I'm all for some good info, all right? Don't get me wrong. If you can use and say something that'll just put it towards the game to make it better, by all damn means. But I'm telling you right now, that stuff is going to get you in some major trouble. And I think, I'm not saying this is true, I think there's going to be a point where the Department of Defense and other agencies from other local countries like UK, France, etc., they're going to look down at Worth and they're going to be like, all right, you know what? You guys are too much of a security risk. We're going to ban you. And I think that's entirely plausible. that if they keep this shit up, they're gonna get us in trouble.
I
Like in
hear
War Thunder as
you.
a whole.
I definitely hear you. But one thing that is kind of interesting from the environment I'm in and seeing some of these documents is the media over exaggerates the type of documents being leaked by a long shot. They are seeing secret documents are leaking and everything. And if you look at it, there's different security classifications to files being restricted, need to know, secret, top secret, different
Of
levels
course.
of security classification. And most of the files being leaked is restricted. Not that I'm condoning leaking restricted information, but that's like the lowest level of classification there is. It isn't such a big deal because it's just manuals being printed, being passed around. I kind of feel like they expect it to be leaked, but not on gaming forums.
Of course. And if something's said top secret or whatever, right? That's one big thing, and that's when they'll come at you. At least what I would imagine to be true. But when it comes to restricted, I don't know all the details of that kind of stuff. I don't know the classifications, to be honest, so I can't say like it's like this or like that. And you're right. You know, it probably isn't as big of a deal as many are trying to put it as. But at the same time, it's like look at it like this. Here in the United States, we are allowed to own what's called ITAR stuff. So meaning that I
Mm-hmm.
can own thermal sights, I can own night vision goggles, I can own body armor, stuff like that, right? But the thing is like
Noise.
just because I can buy it freely, right? I can go to a store, buy it freely, don't even have to show ID for some of that stuff, if not all of it. Doesn't mean I can leave the country with it. Now, if I were to go to Mexico or if I were to go to Europe and I was traveling with that level 4 body armor, I'm going to get in huge trouble with the Department of Defense, right?
Kind of behavior is never tolerated in Boracua. You shout like that, they put you in jail.
Yeah.
And if I start talking about the details behind it in a public area, they're going to get on my butt about that too.
Yeah.
So
Insert
I guess
duck
it's
duck duck FBI open up meme.
yeah, exactly right. So I think that's like the only way I can really like relate it to be understandable. Um, but in truth is like as long as I'm not the one supplying the leaks or in my environment community, I really don't care. At the point, it's just funny to see, but at the same time, it's kind of stupid. But
Yeah, and it's
that
kind
falls
of
into the realm of politics.
it's kind of counterintuitive in the realm of War Thunder because War Thunder is not going to use that. They've made it perfectly clear, even if there's something wrong with the tank that your documentation clearly points out. If that is still restricted and not public domain knowledge, they are not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh yeah, because if you start doing that, you're really gonna get in trouble. And I would, it's very simple to revoke licenses and permits to operate in a certain country,
Yeah,
etc. And you can get region locked. And most governments don't really care who or what you are. They'll make sure it won't happen again.
definitely. So, what would you say is your favorite game mechanic in War Thunder?
My favorite game mechanic, well, it sure as hell ain't overpressure or volumetric. I'll tell you that now.
I thought that
Um,
would come up.
uh, I can't really put my finger on like a favorite one, I would say, and be like, oh, this is what I look forward to. I think it has to be thermal sights. I know, I'm super spoiled by them, but the thing is like I've seen actual thermal sights in person, and I've even
Yeah,
used some for fun, and they're just it's amazing how they look, and I just love the way they are, right?
Fleur
And
is
any vehicle
very
that
fun.
it is very fun. I want to get one even for my rifles and everything. Okay, just because why not?
One day
Um,
when I'm big.
they're not too expensive here in the states. Like you can get a Fleur for like $2,000. Maybe three, depending on what it is,
Yeah,
which
that
is
would
in the
be
realm of
like
affordability to some.
times 18 to the South African rand.
Oh yeah, that's good luck with that one.
So, coming back to game mechanics, what game mechanic would you change if you could change one?
Volumetric. I cannot
Fair
stand it
enough.
sometimes. It makes no sense. You hit like a sliver of not even armor, of like sheet metal, and then your dart loses 95% of its kinetic capability. It's like, are
Like
you serious?
the amount of times a BMP-1 has bounced my APFSDS rounds is insane.
Yeah, and it's just like the sheer kinetic energy behind that would be enough to cause deformation and just at least cause some sort of damage just because of how dense the rounds are IRL. But in War
Yeah,
Thunder, it's just bounce, you know. But then again, we don't have any sort of like a mechanic where the shells will disintegrate, and like the cores would be revealed because it's most shells, they're not just solid like tungsten, right? They're usually like steel
yeah.
capped, or they'll have like a softer material at the tip or the base, so that it can basically absorb all of the like the lighter material, and then the dense projectile in the center can do the penetration, right? I don't know how true that is nowadays. I haven't looked too far into it, but it's just
So this
it
kind
just
of
doesn't work like that in War Thunder.
this kind of like goes into my next question. What game mechanic would you bring in?
Game mechanic would I bring in? I really don't know. I can't say for certain like what would be an ideal or not. Because the only thing I was really looking forward to was improved modules, right? I've been talking about that for years, and they finally brought it in where okay, there's a battery pack system, an FCS. There's
Yeah, yeah.
the LWR and everything for that matter. So now there's more stuff to break, which is good.
Like the autoloader now on the Russian tanks.
Exactly. I don't know how or why that wasn't a thing in the past. We've been playing this game
Okay.
for almost 10 years, and I think what, like 7 of them was with the T72, or 6 of them with the T72, and now they're just adding it.
Do you think when your autoloader gets knocked out, you should still be able to load the gun manually?
um no. And the reason why I'll tell you that, I'll say that is yes, I understand they can be manually loaded. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is like, imagine you only have 5 seconds on the repair for the autoloader, okay? But it takes you like 15 or 18 seconds to reload it instead. Now you're still going to go through that manual loading while your autoloader is still functional. And you could have had 2 or 3 rounds shot out by the time they just loaded that one round. So,
I hear
and
you,
it's
yeah.
not like, and it's not going to be like, oh, it's going to reset it to get that better one, right? Because what if you're at the last second? Now you have to wait another 7 seconds. And it's just, it's kind of all over the place. So I think as it stands right now, it's fine the way it is.
And what is your like wish list for War Thunder? What vehicle are you dying to have in this game?
There's only one I want to see. We'll get it one day. I know we will, and that is the Terminator. I want my BMPT, and I want it real bad.
Oh,
I don't even care which
nice.
version we get. Give us the modern one. Give us those dual. What is it?
30 mils.
Oh my God, 30 millimeters. I was gonna say
Yeah.
57 for some reason. Yeah, give me those dual 30 millimeters. All right, give me those Cornet missiles on the sides. Give me that ability to be in a hold down position with a crewless turret. Yes. Yeah.
I think this is going to be the part where my Gaijin win starts. There's one vehicle I want, and it might tickle your fancy a little bit because it's almost Russian. It's a South African vehicle. Basically, imagine the Vulkas with the 2S38's gun. It's called the Mbombe 57. And I want
I
that. Even if
think
it's a
I've seen
premium,
that.
I want that in game.
I mean, you're talking about the 2S38, which has a disgustingly accurate fun gun. Now you're talking about
Yes,
mounting that to a wheelie boy chassis, is what I like to
exactly.
call it. That's just, yes, please bring it in. I want to annoy people with it.
And that will fix Britain's light tank problem because I don't feel like the Desert Warrior that they implement now really addressed Britain's light tank problem.
I mean, it did to some degree. It gave them something to play with, but dude, yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry. As
Yeah,
much as I enjoy
I
playing
did
it,
not
it's
have
just
fun
it's
with
not
it.
fun.
I had it on a rental from Papa Gaijin, but I barely touched that. I just couldn't.
Yeah, it was a rough experience for sure. It means well, but it's just kind of a stopgap measure at this point. It just
It's
give us
like,
something different.
at least you tried.
Yeah, at least you tried. A for effort, okay? Solid C minus for performance, but A for effort.
So coming back to your channel, what is your favorite video on your channel?
My favorite video, I think, was my T90M. Like that's one of the more recent ones.
Yeah, yeah.
And the T90 to me is one of the most beautiful looking vehicles. One that just almost made me cry when I first played it because I was like, yes, we finally have it, right? And to finally get it in the game the way we have it right now was just it was fun making that video. And I enjoyed it because people even thought I was cheating. I had a whole Reddit post come out calling me a cheater in that video, and just seeing so many people defend me was amazing. But um, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, you haven't made it as a content creator if you haven't been like accused of cheating yet.
Oh, 100%. You should that is like wear that as a badge of honor.
Exactly. So currently, is War Thunder your job? Is it a passion project? Is it a side project? Or do you do content creation full time?
It's actually my job. Funny enough, well, not in the sense that I work
Ooh.
for Gaijin. I'm saying that I'm a full-time content creator. I'm a full-time YouTuber, streamer, well, at least YouTuber, anyways. Working on various different platforms, right? Um, so yeah, it is my full-time job. It pays a lot better than my old one. I'll tell you that now. But it's something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life, but it has to be under the guise of proper growth, right?
Yes,
But no,
definitely.
it is definitely my job, and I love every single moment of it. There are times where it drives me nuts, but hey, listen, if something you love doesn't drive you crazy eventually, at least for certain moments, is it really something you love doing?
And what is your thoughts on gaming as a career for little Timmy staring at this video currently?
Um, oh boy, that is I'm gonna say it in my view. I'm not saying this is true. I'm saying this is just how I
Go
view
for
it.
it. I'm here for your view.
It's fun. It is amazing. Like the experience is something that I have never been able to find doing regular work, and I've worked quite a bit, like retail, construction, so on and so forth, right? But the amount of satisfaction you can get from this is absolutely amazing. But I have, my hairline is getting worse because of it. I think I have more gray hair in my beard than I think I've ever had. It is stressful, it is immensely, immensely stressful, and it's not a physical stress. It is a mental stress, and that I think a lot of people just don't seem to understand that. Just because you're not pushing a shovel all day, kicking up dirt, doesn't mean it's not going to be equally as difficult at times with you because you are your own worst critic, and you will judge your own self to the point where you will spend nights crying. Not saying I've
And
done that, maybe early on, but it can and will happen.
I'm still pretty new in the realm of content creation, and I've literally have tech trees ahead of me that I can still review. But just finding the inspiration or the right angle to make videos on can be quite stressful to think about, or trying to get that perfect shot. So what do people not realize goes on behind the scenes in content creation, like with the editing and all of those harmful things to your stress?
Um, Really, it's a it's time consuming. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. I'll give you a very good example of how this is, and of course, I'm using myself. I wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock every day. I go to bed like around 12 or 1 o'clock, which you'll understand why.
Yeah.
And I do get some sleep, right? And sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less, right? Depending if I'm sick or not. Like this case, I do get a little bit more sleep because I'm not feeling so hot. But um, really, I'll start stream at 9. I'll end like around 12, maybe even at 1 o'clock. And then I'll start recording around 2 or 3. I won't be done recording until around 5. Then I start editing, and I start the pre-production and then the process of getting the video out and ready to go. That takes me another 3 or 4 hours. So by the time I'm already done for the night and I'm ready to go, it's 9 o'clock at night. And that's not even like, okay, I have to get the video published. I have to get it, set up right. I have to put the links everywhere, the tags, and I have to make the thumbnail. So by the time I'm done, it's already like 10 o'clock at night. So I've just used my whole day, and then just do that again and again and again.
I must say one big, I almost said critique. What's the opposite? My brain is slow
Um,
now. Positive?
it's all right.
Compliment, that's the word.
Compliment.
One
Okay.
compliment I want to give you is your thumbnails are excellent. Because if you see one
Oh,
of your
thank you.
thumbnails, you know exactly this is Justin Plays. And what you've done lately with your like combo videos with like the slice down the middle, I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you do, and I really am. It's just that's one thing a lot of people don't really seem to try to grasp at the beginning is you got to create your own sense of uniqueness to it, right? Your thumbnails are your uniqueness, and that's mine that I've established. And yes, I did take influence from others like Fly, and I've taken them from like Odd and etc. But the whole like combo video slice down the middle, that is like inspiration I took from the old like Markiplier days
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
old like early YouTuber days kind of stuff, and then just bring it back a little bit of nostalgic
But it
with those,
works.
and it
It
works. Yeah,
works
and it works.
beautifully.
It gives you a good idea. It's not as cluttered, and I think it works, and I'm glad you noticed it because I was
And
hoping that people would enjoy it.
and you know the old adage that goes like, if you do the thing you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So now the question
Absolutely.
comes, do you really enjoy War Thunder?
Yeah. I mean, yes, there are times where I get super frustrated, right? And times I get super angry at this game, and I'm just like, why am I even here? But really, that's just the moment speaking. It's the emotional moments is all. Um, I still love this game. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, and I'm too old to sit around doing something I don't like. Simple as that.
Definitely.
So I still love it, and I would not be around if I didn't. And if I didn't, I would go be a cop or something, or I'd be doing something a lot different. But I'm stuck here,
So what keeps you
and I love it.
motivated to play War Thunder?
Um, my viewers, honestly, like just being able to see people's comments and seeing them enjoy themselves, and not even praise me. Like I don't really go for the praise. I go to see the people's enjoyments, like how they maybe enjoyed a moment where I destroyed a vehicle, or maybe I got my butt kicked and I laughed about it, and people can laugh with me. You know, that's
And
that's what
that's
really sets it.
and that's something I enjoy. Like there's a few War Thunder creators that does that, and you are one of them, and I appreciate that. Like that you show that you are killable in this game, because some of the people like, yeah, you're only showing your good matches. Yes, because that is what makes content. Nobody wants to watch
Of
an
course,
hour of you just dying the whole time, unless that's a
exactly.
specific montage of that. But the thing that shows like you are not wearing plot armor the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I may have been isekai'd, but I got into a shitty world at that point. No,
So,
but
coming back to a more debated topic,
uh-huh.
War Thunder has been implementing battle passes now for the last, I think now, 2 years or so, and it has very different. It has changed a lot. First, we started with I think like 3 or 4 vehicles we got in a battle pass. They've reduced it. Now they made it that you can actually get the next battle pass by playing the current battle pass. What is your takes on the battle pass currently and the one active now? Is it good? Is it bad? What would you change?
Oh, okay. So I'm very wary about battle passes in general, right? Usually they're just ways to get like pay to win vehicles, or and not maybe not vehicles, but I'm saying in like the broad sense of things where other games
I'm
have it where if you don't have the battle pass, you're not going to have the advantage that you otherwise want,
I
right?
mean, the
War Thunder.
PT-76 exists.
I
That
was gonna I was gonna get to that. Yeah,
PT-57,
you're
yeah.
right. I was gonna get to that. That was a blatant pay to win. I think that thing was absolutely amazing and still is to
I
this day.
love it.
And it's so fun. I gotta go play it again. But as I don't look at it just for the vehicle that it has. I look at it for what else it offers around it. So it gives you not gold link. It gives you silver lions. It gives you boosts. It gives you decals. It gives you like stuff that you would need to make your grinding experience a lot easier. And even without
Yeah.
the paid battle pass, it still gives you so much of free stuff that it's like it makes sense. And yeah, I get it, right? What 2,500 GE, which is what $14 USD, anyways, to
Yeah.
grab it. And then on top of that, you're paying a month 14 USD. But if you're smart about it and you play this game enough, you just wait for the discounts at the end of the year to get the 1 year for like 30, 40 bucks. And then every single month after that, you're just spending money only on your, or every 3 months, 15 bucks. It's a good deal. I'm not
And
saying you should buy it. I'm saying it's easy and it's worth it.
one thing I've seen, not, I want to say it's not an exploit, just something that's being overlooked a lot, is your, not only the daily tasks, but special tasks in your Warband shop. That gives you so much like boost in progression on your battle passes, along with your daily logins, your daily challenges. Just by doing the special tasks, boost your battle pass so much, and people aren't exploiting that. And with that, if you complete it, then you can get more war bonds, and then you can actually buy a premium vehicle in the warbond shop as well.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't look into that. In fact, I barely pay attention to it because most of the vehicles and stuff that they offer, I already have, and I've gotten through years of playing this game, right?
Yeah.
But to the average player who doesn't have the level of experience that we do as creators and players, yeah, it always it will benefit you, and I'm deeply surprised no one has really spoken about it. In fact, you may have given me a subject for a video, who knows? But um, you're entirely right. It gives you free things to play with, and all you have to do is
Exactly.
just play the game and perform certain tasks, which in itself will offer you a unique play style and variety as it requires you. Does that make sense? So you get to have a different experience every time.
And it's at the end, choose your own adventure, because there's 6 vehicles you can choose from.
Exactly.
So, after
And
the whole battle pass discussion, your take on events, because our event cycles, everything has changed since last year's uprising.
it has. And I'll be honest with you, and I'm only speaking for myself as opposed to others. And I don't want to seem super selfish, but I'll explain why in a second. As a full time player, and key word, okay, or key phrase, full time. I liked them. I liked the hard events where I had to like get certain RNG parts to do things, and I had to do this and do that, right? Because it gave me
Yeah,
something
yeah.
to do. It gave me more of a purpose, more so than I have right now, and it was fun. But I can understand the complications behind it, where players they can't spend 4 or 5 hours a day playing this game to get this stuff done. It's just not feasible for people who have actual lives, work, jobs, girlfriend, whatever. Um, and so I understand the frustration behind it, and I can't blame them for being upset and Gaijin fixing it and changing it to where we have it right now. I think it's not any better, but it's definitely not nearly as bad as what it used to be. It's much more feasible and much more simple, I would say, which
I,
is a good for some, bad for others, like myself.
I want to jump in with that as well. I agree with your take on it. I miss the old events, and especially that you can choose which event vehicle you wanted out of the 3, or there was normally 4 vehicles you could. And
Of
normally
course.
the way I played, I could maybe get like the end tank and one of the smaller tanks, like if you have like 4 parts built or whatever. So I liked that. But the pro of the news cycle, I kind of want to feel, is with being a shift worker and studying currently, if an event comes at a weird time for me, there's no way I can do that event. But with now is I can grind for the ground event vehicle if I want it, and maybe the air. I'm not really a naval player, so if the naval cycle comes around like now, I give myself a chance to rest and maybe focus on other things than grinding out an event 24/7, 365.
Yeah, exactly. And I respect that. I really do. Again, it made things a little bit too simple, which I mean, isn't the point of this game is to be a little bit complicated so that it keeps things interesting?
Definitely. Now, one of my viewers especially asked I should ask you if they should bring back the D point.
Ah, the D point. You know what? Listen, the D point. is nothing more but a myth. It is a legend. It is an environment that only those who have truly ascertained pure enlightenment in this game shall one day see it, like Valhalla. So yes, attack the D point,
Attack the
but
D
you'll be going
point.
there shiny and chrome.
T14.
T14.
So, what is your biggest tip for new War Thunder players?
The biggest step? Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna give you two. Okay. The first one is don't buy premium vehicles. Just don't. Do not even think about it. I know if you're probably watching this and you're on the fence, don't do it. Okay. Because you want to gain experience. You want to understand the game because it's one thing to be able to learn the ropes. And this is where I get into that part. The second part is learning and understanding the game. And the biggest one that a lot of people don't talk about that drives me absolutely nuts is proper map positioning. Understanding where to sit, the avenues of approach for both your team and the enemies, understanding flanks, counter flanks, etc. It's one thing to have a proper shot placement, but rule of thumb goes, if you can catch them on the side, you have your best bet of winning that fight. And how do you do that? You understand where to put yourself.
That comes with a lot of dying.
And that comes with a whole lot of getting your butt kicked, yes.
And if there are people out here listening currently that is on the verge of becoming content creators, what is your biggest tip for new War Thunder content creators?
Your biggest step? I'm more of like a tech snob, more or less. So I say make your stuff look pretty. Like make sure your video sounds good and it looks good. Make sure the bit rate is set up. Make sure you're using the right encoder, stuff like that. Which some people won't understand what I mean by that, but it's very simple to find the information on the web, especially YouTube. But once you get your audio and your visual down to the dime, you want to focus on what type of creator do you want to be and stick with it. Consistency is the absolute must. All right.
Build
If you
your
start
niche.
something, you got to build your niche and you got to make sure it works. Sure, change things up every once in a while, but understand that if you do that and you're not in a position to where you have like 10, 20, 30, 40,000 subs, you might lose some, you might gain some more, but as long as you maintain true to the type of content you're making, you will succeed. Simple as that.
And what's your take on the War Thunder Partnership Program and what Gaijin offers new creators once they join the content creation program?
I think it's good. I really like it, to be honest. I like the fact that when you get in, you get 10,000 GE. You get a whatchamacallit. Oh my goodness, I can't brain
Under the
myself. I
wire.
apologize. Under the wire tag. There it is. You get that stuff. And you get all these unique bonuses and everything for that matter. And it feels good. Right. And I like the way it currently is right now. There are different tiers. There's a tier 1 creator all the way to I think tier 4, I think it is. I don't keep up with it, to be honest, but it's nice what Gaijin offers. And I always say just don't go in for the bonuses and the gifts.
Yeah, definitely.
That is nothing more but a badge to show everyone that you're officially a creator, as opposed to, hey, I'm a creator, look at me getting free stuff. Because at the end of the
Definitely.
day, nothing is ever free.
And I kind of want to say the biggest pro for me with the whole getting into the creation scene is kind of the Discord, being able to reach out to other content creators like yourself and setting up like a podcast like this, getting Q&As done and building your, I want to say, not audience, but making better contacts and connections. That's the word.
Yeah, of course. And everyone, at least that I have seen, there have been exceedingly few individuals who are not approachable. Everyone is, all you have to do is just send them a message. And even if they don't know who you are, they'll be like, hey, I'm a creator. I want to just, get my feet wet. Any advice or let's talk or anything like that. And I would say 9 out of 10 times they'll be like, sure, let's talk, let's hang out, let's do something. And that's what I love about having such a small niche community that of creators that we are very easy to talk to one another. I can't say that 100%, but 90% of the time, yeah, it is.
And what do you think about like the War Thunder player base slash your audience? Like, are most of them supportive? Not so much. What's your take on the
Um,
mass?
I don't look at it like that, to be honest. I don't look at it as like, oh, are you supporting me? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Because, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, nor do I want to be. I want to give content and make content to those who are willing to give me that shot, that chance of finding a certain type of enjoyment, right? Even the ones who offer me nothing but hate and otherwise non-constructive criticism, it's like at the end of the day, you've given me something to work on, and just by having your presence right there shows me what I can work on and what do I need to improve on and what I'm doing right. So I don't look at anyone like just a viewer. I look at them as personal critics who are there to have a good time.
Definitely. And I still have to get my revenge one day because you have killed me one time in
Oh
game.
no.
We were playing on American Desert. I was in, I believe, a Leopard 2A5, and you came with your Russian, I think it was a T-72B3. And you engined me, and I couldn't shoot you because of the whole NATO engine can't shoot behind
NATO
you thing.
hump.
And that was so painful until I saw the kill feed. I was like, ah, and I took a screenshot of that, but that was when I was still playing on PlayStation, so I've lost all that. But that was fun. Memories.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not entirely, but if I see a weakness, which is, something I like to exploit a lot on NATO vehicles, I will take it. If I have to burn you out, I will do so in glee.
Exactly. Like, I mean, that is kind of like this game can be sadistic, but like a fun sadistic.
It is, exactly. It's just like we're all having fun. And I'm not trying to ruin your experience. I'm just like, people do it to me. I'm going to do it to you. Oh no, I
Eh,
shot down a nuke. Oh, guess what? I've been shot down in nukes.
Yeah, definitely. I've been shot down by friendlies before.
That's kind of a different story because it's like now you're just an asshat.
Exactly. Like, I just like putting on my smoke and escorting in bombers, like friendlies, of course. I'll try and shoot down enemies. But I don't understand why people want to ruin someone else's fun like that. That's just, yeah, I don't get it.
I jealousy, pettiness. I really can't find a reason as to it why either. But hey, at the end of the day, it's like if they're sad enough to spread that misery, that's on them.
And you're kind of, I want to say, known in your community for like an anime connoisseur. Is there any anime you would like recommend to new people looking into getting into anime? Girls und Panzer?
Um, well, here's the thing, and this I'm trying to get my character to be a little bit better known. And it's a little difficult to be honest because my artist is not full time. But I'm still working on it nonetheless, right? And the idea behind that, of course, is just so that I can enhance my brand with a relatable character to
hmm
share everything. And no, the character is not me. I don't know why people keep saying that. Oh, it's just female Justin. No, it's not. It is a companion. It is basically a like a character that complements my main character. Anyways,
So, like the old Microsoft paperclip.
pretty much. It's a little less annoying though. Um,
Yeah. Giving away
but
my
yeah,
age here.
oh, dude, I feel you. I'm 31. What do you expect?
I'm
Okay.
30, so I'm trailing you hard there.
Oh man, we're old, dude. That hairline's gonna come knocking soon. Just saying. But the whole anime stuff, I don't know. I'm not too big into like anime shows or anything for that matter. I've only seen maybe like less than 15 different animes in my life, and I've watched one of them like 4 times. That's it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not sure if it counts, but I was a big like Dragon Ball Z kid, so
Nah, Dragon
hopefully
Ball
that
Z.
counts.
It was fun, but I never had the attention span to be able to like complete the entire series. But it's still great.
I gave my spirit for that spirit bomb multiple times.
Oh gosh, I'm sure you're enjoying the new stuff they have out.
There's new stuff.
Yeah, they made like a new season. I think about a year or two ago.
I definitely have to go check that out. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So, do you have any guilty gaming pleasures, games other than Gaijin that you play?
My guilty pleasure. Yes, RTSs. I really enjoy games
Ooh,
like
which
Planetary
ones?
Annihilation, Age of
Ooh,
Empires, games like Avorion. You know, I wouldn't really call it an RTS, but it does have RTS elements to it, which is awesome. If I can build my fleet.
Company of Heroes?
Yes, 3
The
sucks.
first
1 was
one. Yeah.
great. 2 was
Love
all right.
the first one is the best one in my opinion. I absolutely
Of course.
spent days in that one.
I don't have too much time compared to like that, of course, but I have enough to be able to say it is a fun game. I never really got into too much. Third looks pretty, but they they definitely dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, I haven't checked out number 3 yet, but 2 I have spent some time in it. It only gets fun for me with some mods.
Yeah, get 3 on a sale,
Okay, I'll
and
definitely
it'll
do
probably
that.
be worth it. But that's
So
it for my guilty gaming pleasures.
okay. And is there any advice you would give to the audience listening right now?
Like what? Yeah, I mean, life advice or gaming advice, creator advice.
This is all you. Speak directly from your heart to the audience.
Directly from my heart to the audience. Oh man, that's gonna be a tough one. Let's see. 2-ply toilet paper will always be superior. If you go 1-ply, you're a psycho. Simple as that. Okay, it may be cheaper, but it's not worth it in the long run. Okay.
Guys, you heard it here first. Justin, thank you so
No.
much.
I got a genuine. Hold up. I got a
Ooh,
genuine one.
ooh.
Okay, a genuine one is if you love what you do, you will never waste a moment in your life, and always take everything to face value when it comes to enjoyment. Okay, don't look at it as like, can I have more fun? Can I do something that makes it even more enjoyable? Just look at it for what it is. Enjoy what's in front of you, and you'll live life a lot better.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. Justin, thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate you taking the time to come speak with us. And yeah, I think this went well. Now, the only thing left is for us to peer pressure the next content
Oh no.
creator. So, who is your content creator that you are nominating that I should try and get a hold of for my next interview for Hangar Hangouts? Drumroll, please.
You know, I'm gonna have to go with an up and coming, another brilliant creator who's incredibly talented in the way of their gameplay, and their editing work is only ever improving. And that would be BPA John. He's one of the esports casters.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if he actually works with Gaijin. I'm pretty sure he does. But he's another brilliant, talented creator who will definitely overtake myself as a creator at some point. I can already tell. And he's definitely one you want to speak to soon. But
Definitely. So I'm gonna have
go
to
back
go
to what you were
do
saying
some
earlier, though.
homework.
Just a little bit. He's an amazing person. Trust me when I say that. But no, it was a pleasure, man. I appreciate you pulling me into this and using your own time as well. And we'll definitely have to do it again at some point.
Fantastic. Guys, if there's any questions you want me added to the future podcasts, let me know in the comments below. Anything you would like to know, please in the comments. If there's anything you'd like to leave for Justin to read, leave it there for me. Guys, as always, stay awesome. Burgernator out.
See you next time.